Welcome. In this class, we would start with the ministerial summary as we said for the year 2017. Now, this is a very important part for your general studies, especially for your those targeting for prelims. Now, most of the content here is more to revise and remember. So, we would be definitely covering each of these topics, but you would have to definitely remember and revise these contents. Again, what we would be covering is summary ministry by ministry, and in the handouts at the Examrace current affairs section, you would have the summary for each ministry separately. So, it would be Ministry of Communication, then Post and so on. So, let's start with the first ministry, that is the Ministry of Communication. Now, the very important portal here was the Tarang Sanchar. Tarang Sanchar was launched by Department of Telecommunication to generate confidence among the people about the issues that are being talked about regarding the safety of the mobile towers and the harmlessness of the mobile towers. So that was very important. Tarang Sanchar, very important for your objective purpose. As you know, in prelims, many of the schemes that are less heard of are usually asked. So make sure that you keep an eye on all these schemes or all these names that come across. Now next was, you had the satellite based mobile services that have been launched through BSNL. There are numerous schemes that have been launched under the skill development. Two of them have been launched by the Telecom Sector. Those are Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhayaji Sanchar Kaushal Vikas Pratishthan scheme. So this talks about the Skill India specifically for the communication, and you would have numerous training centers that would be organized. Then the second scheme under this was Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Telecom Skill Excellence Award scheme. This is for the special contributions to the citizens who have done path-breaking work in the field of telecom sector. Again, we have witnessed numerous growth in the telecom sector. There has been a net increase of nearly 9 million subscribers through internet from a period of nearly 3 months. So, one quarter we registered nearly 9 million increase in the internet connectivity. The FDI equity inflow has increased and is now at around $6 billion in the first half of the financial year. Now coming on to the postal department. Postal department is now working with the core banking solution. So post offices now being converted as banks is first and the primary thing. The second is the post offices are now working as Passport Seva Kendra. So POPSK they are being converted into, and that's again very important. So it has been affecting the payment system. So you have India Post Payment Bank IPPB, that's very important. Again, next is postal life insurance. It was introduced in 1884 and it's among one of the oldest life insurance that is available in India. In the rural areas, it was introduced in 1995. So it is nearly more than after 100 years you had the postal life insurance in rural areas. Now there are some of the schemes under the postal life insurance and the rural postal life insurance. So you have the Gram Suraksha, that is the whole life assurance, you have Gram Santosh, you have Gram Suvidha and so on and so forth. So all this list would be available in the handouts. You need to know and remember those. Some other important initiatives are expansion of the clientage. So more and more people should join with the postal insurance, life insurance, launch of Sampurna Bima Gram Yojana. Now under this scheme, at least one village has been identified in each of the areas or each of the revenue districts which have a population of minimum of 100 people. The next is the AUM, that's Asset Under Management and Investment functions of the postal life insurance that have been talked about. Passport Seva Kendra we have already talked about. So there are nearly 235 post office Passport Seva Kendra that have come up in the first phase, and we are planning for more in the upcoming phases. Now what are the challenges? The challenges under the Passport Seva Kendra are we are trying to make available a verifying officer and a granting officer in every of the post office Passport Seva Kendra. It should be opened at every 50 kilometers. The finances should be formalized. The project should be institutionalized between Department of Post and Ministry of External Affairs, and the existing camp mode should be enhanced to a full-fledged Seva Kendra. So those are some of the challenges. Now sometimes you have 2 or 3 sentences that are given and you have to mark down which of the following are correct statements. So sometimes you must know these challenges in detail. It becomes very important. Coming on to the case studies, the first is CPMG Ahmedabad. You have NIC Gandhinagar that created online job application system. That's a web portal where people can apply for jobs. Then you have numerous various things that have been talked about. You have Khel Mahakumbh that has come into action, and through this Khel Mahakumbh now all the monies are being deposited directly into the person's bank account. So you have electronic money orders that are being dispatched, and this Khel Mahakumbh is a very prestigious national sporting competition that's held every year since 2010. The next is CPMG Karnataka. Now this talks about the delivery area of 94 pin codes that are being covered under 39 nodal centers in Bangalore for quick delivery. So same day delivery is one of the major aspects that they are covering on. Then we have the CPMG West Bengal. Here they are trying to incorporate more e-commerce clientage, and the mechanized delivery of the parcels and large speed post articles are being considered nowadays. So you have numerous initiatives that are being talked about as setting up of e-commerce hub at Nabadi Ganta. That's very important. Now the next is Ministry of Earth Science. So far we have talked about the Communication Ministry, the Postal Ministry. Coming on to the Earth Science Ministry, there have been some recent and important developments that have come up. First is open sea cage culture has been established for blast water treatment technology. You have air quality and weathering monitoring stations that have been set up at Ahmedabad. Pondicherry, you have beach restoration facilities. Mission Monsoon or Monsoon Mission, very important both for your prelims and mains. So it's a kind of dynamic model that talks about seasonal forecast for the upcoming years, and the monsoon forecast for the 2017 it has been giving so far. So this is very important not only for your prelims and mains but also for geography optional candidates. We will be covering monsoon mission in detail in one of the upcoming lectures, so stay tuned. The next is Koyna Interplate Seismic Zone in Maharashtra. You have 3 laboratories that have come up here: mud logging, online gas and fluid sample, and finally the geological laboratory. Then you have inauguration of the ST radar at the CUSAT and the Doppler weather radar at Cochin. Both of those are very important. Desalinization plant has come up, and now this is through an indigenous technology. This has been done through the National Institute of Ocean Technology, Goa, and we are trying to expand this model to other islands, specifically in Lakshadweep. Coming on to Ministry of Home Affairs, you have numerous schemes for modernization of police forces that have come up. The digital police portal under CCTNS has come up. Now you have various operational strategy for fighting the left-wing extremists under the strategy Samadhan. Chhattisgarh has been sanctioned new skill development centers. You have liberalization of the visa regimes. You have e-visa facility that has come up for nearly 163 nations at 25 airports. Separate immigration facilities to assist people, mainly the medical tourism and promoting medical tourism in India at the following 6 airports. Then you have the lead intelligence agency which has been declared by SSB for a new intelligence setup on the Indo-Nepal and Indo-Bhutan borders. You have CRPF helpline that has been launched in Jammu Kashmir. Besides that, you have numerous meetings that have come up for disaster reduction, for sustainable making of India resilient by 2030. That's one of those. Then you have island development agencies that talk about development of 9 islands, 4 from Andaman Nicobar and 5 from Lakshadweep. The name of those are very important. Then you have the various inter-nation agreements. So between India and Russia, the agreement was signed in Moscow for cooperation on security issues. Then you have the global platform for disaster risk reduction at Cancun, Mexico. You have ties between India and Afghanistan for police training, between India and Thailand for narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, between India and Myanmar for drug trafficking. Similarly, you have India-Bangladesh for a secure border vision, and you have numerous other schemes that have come up. Very, very important are two schemes: the web portal Bharat Ek Veer to enable people to contribute towards the family of the martyrs, and Yuva, this is a skill development program which has been initiated by Delhi Police under the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So those are very, very important. Coming on to the Petroleum Ministry, you have HELP, that is Hydrocarbon Exploration Licensing Policy. Very, very important not only for prelims but also for mains. So HELP scheme, very, very important. Then survey of the various sedimentary basins and finding out the major petroleum areas in India. National data repository, where you have the entire data for exploration that would be available. Then you have national grid, gas grid, that is Pradhan Mantri Urja Ganga. That's again very, very important for providing the gas pipeline networking. City gas distribution network for providing cooking fuels through the PNG to the various households in the cities. Then for the marketing front, you have Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana for LPG connections that we are already aware about. Direct benefit transfer of the PDS scheme, and through that mainly the kerosene subsidy. Then you have the LPG coverage that has been increased. Subsidy on kerosene and LPG. So there is a compensation of 225 per cylinder under the DBTL. Then you have the automation of the various OMC ROs, that's for the quality and the quantity of the fuel. Then we focus on digital payment. The next is auto fuel. For the auto fuel, we are moving towards BS4 norms. BS6 norms, and BS4 and BS6 norms are very, very important. So make sure you are thorough with those. Those are important for your both prelims and mains. We are also talking about second generation ethanol through lignocellulose route. So lignocellulose are very, very important. We have established nearly 12 2G ethanol plants in 11 states. That's again very important. Now some of the other flagship programs. So these are common for all the ministries, you can say. So you have the Swachhta scheme, you have the startup, skill development, make in India, ease of doing business, digital issues. So all those would be common for all of the ministries. Coming on to Ministry of Tourism, very, very important. This is a new focus for the government. So we also had a Kurukshetra edition of rural tourism that was important. So we are talking about tourism under various heads, and you have the India's rank in travel and tourism competitiveness index, that is 25 place jump from 2013. Then we have launched the Incredible India 2.0 campaign, that's again very important, and the rank has increased, so it was 40 and previously it was 65 in 2013 and now it is 40. So we have registered a drastic change in the rank. Now under the infrastructure, we have Prashad scheme, that's the National Mission on Pilgrimage Rejuvenation, Spiritual Heritage Augmentation Drive, and we have the Swadesh Darshan scheme. So we have various theme based circuits. So you have the medical circuit, you have the health circuit, spiritual circuit, so on and so forth. You have special tourism zones that have been developed. Parayatan Parv that was being conducted. The HRD ministry has talked about setting up of applied training center at Institute of Hotel Management in Shillong. Then you have participation in the international tourism boards, and here in the India's pavilion the theme was spiritual tourism. So what we are promoting India on an international front is a spiritual tourism. Then again we had the 6th International Tourism Mart that was held in Guwahati. We have various new facilities that are coming up for tourists, specifically in Goa. You have on the Madgaon, Karmani and the Thivam railway stations. Then you have the glass top railway coaches that are being proposed, so that all the scenic routes could be visible through the rooftop and you can see the scenic view from within the railways. So that's again an important initiative that has been taken up. Coming on to water resources, river development and Ganga Rejuvenation. Ganga Rejuvenation itself, very, very important topic. Specifically for your mains long answer, every year off and on you have one question related to either interlinking or Ganga basin. So this Ganga Rejuvenation would be part of your answer and a kind of major case study that you can discuss with your answers. So under the Namami Ganga projects, there are nearly 187 projects that have been conducted. 6 public outreach programs have been conducted and various countries are now collaborating with the idea of Ganga cleaning in India. We are also working forward for water quality monitoring systems which are already located at 124 locations as of now. Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, per drop more crops. So you are trying to provide micro irrigation facilities to maximum farmers, and the accelerated irrigation benefit programs have been started up. We have been working with the interlinking of rivers. So Ken Betwa, Daman Ganga Pinjal and Per Tapi Narda, again very important. Then you have some of the major statistics. So National Hydrologic Project has been taken up with the assistance of World Bank. Again very important, the highlights of National Hydrology Project. Then you have the program under the name National Aquifer Management, and this is for the mapping of the water bearing aquifers in India to enhance the watershed management in India. Again, we have numerous schemes across India, across the world. So you have Afghan-India Friendship Dam Project, then you have the Dar es Salaam channels in Tanzania, and numerous other projects that we have been working forward in India and across the globe. Dham is again an important web-based dam inventory management software that's very important, that has been completed. The DRIP scheme has been carried out by IIT Roorkee, that we have already seen. We are also working for the protection of the Majuli Islands in Assam. That's again very important. We already talked about how Swachhta Pakhwada and Swachhta Make in India, Startup India have been part of all the ministries. Now coming on to the Ministry of Food Processing Industry. So under the food processing, India hosted the World Food India 2017, the Kumbh Mela of Indian food. Now India is trying to become or have a good position as a global food factory. You have numerous mega food parks that are coming up. Besides that, you have the incubation centers for shallot that has been launched in the Perambalur in Tamil Nadu. There are numerous agro-based processing centers that have been coming up. Now new investors portal, that is Nivesh Bandhu, that has been launched, and government is trying to promote incentives for food processing center. You have various concept of food street. India has showcased it in the various investment destinations. Then you have the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana that targets onto the infrastructure and capacity building for food processing. The various mega food parks that have been operationalized in India, you have the list here. Most of those lying throughout the India. So you have in Karnataka, Punjab, you have in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and so on. Now these mega food parks are likely to benefit more than 25,000 farmers and create employment for 5,000 people. 2 of the major food parks have been established at Satara and Agartala in Tripura, and one more in Ajmer in Rajasthan. And these are the basic focus for the ministry and the food processing industry. Then you have the foundation stones for more mega food parks that are being laid out in Ludhiana, Palkhad, Azapullah and Kapurthala. You have the integrated cold chain and value addition infrastructure. That's again very important. We are producing lot of food grains, but storage of those food grains and getting a best value from that food grain is very important. So we are modernizing the abattoirs. Then we are establishing various food testing laboratories. There are the incubation centers that we have already talked about. You have integrated cold chain projects that have come up. So all this are very important, and above all, the most important is approved what government FSSAI approved a large number of additives that are harmonized with the international codex standards. So under this, what is very important is knowing the international codex standards and the list of various additives and the rule and the importance for those. Now there was last year a question on this. We expect a similar question this year as well. So make sure you understand and go through the international codex standards very carefully, and the list of all new additives similar to this, you should remember all the list of new endangered and vulnerable species that have been included and the critically endangered species. So these two things, off and on, every year you have one question, 1 to 2 questions in prelims, and even for 1 and 2 questions you should not take a risk and you should prepare those questions very carefully. You have NIFTEM at Kundali, Sonpat in Haryana, and then you have IAFPT in Thanjavur that are being developed as centers of excellence. You have the food regulatory portal that has been established. Then Ministry of HRD. Under Human Resource Development, Sabko Shiksha Achhi Shiksha, that has been the slogan, and this we have covered exclusively in our classes on higher education. So we have covered all the major schemes there in high detail. Here we would be touching just the names again. So you have the National Achievement Survey that was conducted for class 3, 5 and 8. This was one of the largest survey conducted, which included maximum number of students across the world. And the most important part is, it is not a textbook evaluation but a competency based evaluation that has taken place. Under the teachers education, you had the Diksha portal, that's the digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing, the various diet portals that have been established. There have been amendment in the RTE Act that has taken place for improving the teaching process and the learning outcomes. Then you have distribution of tablets through the Kendriya Vidyalayas or the KVs, mainly for the maths and science students. Then you have e-course that has been introduced through NUEPA. You have numerous seminars under the name of Chintan Shivir. Then you have Ek Bharat Shreshth Bharat, that was a national level camp being organized. NCERT is now distributing more than 6 crore textbooks. There have been award for the cleanest schools. So that's again one of the major motives of the government, awarding various sectors among. So you have cleanest schools, cleanest hospitals, cleanest temples, cleanest religious places, and so on and so forth. Numerous scholarships include merit cum means scholarship. You have incentive to girls for secondary scholarship. Then you have various scholarships for the various sections, mainly the class 5 and 8. Introduction of midday meals schemes. You have new education policy that has been revised nearly after 30 years, and MHRD is taking good issues under this. NIRF, that's the National Institutional Ranking Framework, first launched in 2015. You have the ranking for various engineering, management, pharma and universities. The first ranks were declared in 2016, and then you had the second that were declared in 2017. Swayam, that is Steady Waps for active learning of young aspiring minds. That's again an initiative of MHRD. Very important. All these schemes we have covered thoroughly. So you can just go back and refer those classes. Under Swayam, you also have Swayam Prabha that talks about high quality educational channels through direct to home facility. Then you have National Academic Depository, where all the academic awards would be taken on, and it would be a kind of online storehouse of all the degrees and certificates. You have National Digital Library, where all the content would be available in electronic format, worked around with IIT Kharagpur. Then you have Higher Education Financing Agency, HEFA. This is very important, of recent that has been established to provide investment for creation of good infrastructures for higher education. Then you have the various research parks that have been established. 5 new research parks have come up at IIT Delhi, Guwahati, Kanpur, Hyderabad and IISc Bangalore. Imprint India is again very important. The idea is to prepare youth for research, and those research which are really useful for social purposes. Then you have Uchitar Avishkar Abhiyan to promote industry specific scientific development or need based research. Besides that, you have the idea of creating gender balances in IITs. The premier testing facility, so you have the NTA, the National Testing Agency, that would be conducting major tests that are being conducted by CBSE as of now. Numerous welfare measures have been introduced. 6 new IITs have been established. There is construction of a permanent campus of the proposed IITs that have already come up. Gyan, that is Global Initiative for Academics Network, very important. Then you have the open distance learning that was introduced. Smart Hackathon that is being released. There are numerous legislations that have been passed. The first is the IIT Public-Private Partnership Bill. The highlights of those are given here, very important, and the IIM Bill, again very important. So the questions dealing with education very likely to be from the section of MHRD, IIT Bill, the IIM Bill, and the major initiatives like Gyan, NIRF, then you have Swayam Prabha. So all the salient features of IIM Bill. IIM Bill basically talks about providing autonomy to the institution, more participation, provisions for the presence of women and the members from SC/ST into the board, and there would be a kind of annual report of the institution that would be placed in front of the Parliament and the Comptroller and the Auditory General. Then you have the achievements of NCERT. We talk about inclusive education, performance indicators. Then we have the Rashtriya Avishkar Abhiyan, textual management material on yoga that has been created, Veer Gatha that highlights the sacrifices that have been done by the war heroes in India. Then the pre-service teacher education. So we talk about Kala Utsav, development of e-content. We talk about school achievements, popularizing the science, creating outreach programs. Under the KV programs, you have the major initiatives that have been taken up. So you have green building initiative, you have the various KVs that are coming up or being opened in the civil defense or the project sectors. You have the training programs that are being organized and the various awards that have been won by different schools for the different areas under the KV. That's again very important. In the digital initiatives, you have e-Prajna, where more than 5,000 students have been given preloaded tablets for science and maths. So that's one of the major initiatives under the digital reforms or Digital India. Then you have Ministry of Non-Renewable Energy, very important. 2022 targets are 175 kilowatts of installed energy through renewable sources, that is further divided into various sectors. So we are working for bidding the trajectory and bidding the various sectors. Now India, since has a target, you have the small hydropower, solar power, biopower that has been set up. So what is the idea is, so first is green power capacity addition that we aim for. Then we have the various sector wise highlights. We are trying to establish the largest ever wind power capacity, and once established, India would be at the 4th position after China, USA and Germany. We are trying to establish the biggest solar power capacity addition for this year, where we would have the rooftop solar plants, the solar projects. We are working for biomass projects. Again under the solar, we are establishing 3 new solar parks. The capacity has been enhanced. There is new capacity upbuilding that has taken place at Badla phase in Rajasthan, and one of the largest world solar park is being set up at Kurnool. So those are some of the important highlights that we are covering for. Now all this are very important for your geography of India, for those having geography as one of the optionals, renewable sources of energy, the major highlights, and all this could be part of your case studies when you are substantiating your answers. For the prelims point of view, you have Surya Mitra program that has been launched for creation of qualified technical workforce, where nearly 11,000 people would be trained, and an app known as Arun, Atal Rooftop Solar Use Navigator, for good application and setup of the solar rooftops. So those two are again very important. Now wind power, as we said, India would be in the 4th position after China, USA and Germany. The second wind auction of 1000 megawatts resulted in the lowest tariff of rupees 2.64 per unit. So what is going on with the years? The tariff has been constantly reducing, and that's one of our major aims, to reduce the tariff for the wind power as well as the solar power. Now we have also come across the various family sized biogas plants that are being planned off mainly along the highways. IREDA, that's the Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency, that has been awarded the status of Mini Ratna. That's again very important, and the capital has increased from 1000 to 6000 crores. There are numerous green energy corridors that have been established. International Solar Alliance, that's again very important. 100% FDA has been permitted for renewable energy generation. Besides that, we have numerous guidelines that have been issued. There has been declared renewable purchase obligation up to the year 1819, that's again very important. You have waiver of the interstate transmission system charges that have come up. The next is Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Under the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, we are working forward for tribal sub-plans to cater to the specific tribal development programs into the various areas. We are also working on the allocation of the business rules, monitoring systems. We are working for the Eklavya model for residential housing for the tribal students. Then we are constructing museums for the tribal freedom fighters. One such initiative has started already in the state of Gujarat. Providing scholarships, pre-matric, post-matric, and to those whose family income has a ceiling, and that ceiling has been increased up to 6 lakhs now. Previously it was 4.5 lakhs. So there are various scholarships that have been given. Again, you have Aadi Mahotsav that was being organized for the tribal upliftment, where the tribal products and the tribal artisans can showcase their products into the market. The amendments has been made in the mineral auctions rule under the Ministry of Mines. So Ministry of Mines is next such important aspect, and mineral auction rules 2015, very important, where the auction process has been amended and has come forward for concession on major minerals other than coal, petroleum and natural gas. So that's again very important. You have AERO-Geophysical Survey that has been conducted. The next is review of the National Mineral Policy 2008, that's again under focus. So what we are focusing on is the star rating of the mines. So that star rating has been including the statutory provisions in the MCEDR for time bound, that's 2 years, to achieve a minimum of 4-star rating. So that's again very important aspect. Then you have the surveillance system for mining, MSS, mining surveillance system, that has been set up. And this talks about mineral administration by curbing the various instances of the illegal mining procedures that take place. One such mobile friendly app has been created at Gandhinagar, and various unauthorized mining centers have been checked out. Then you have the Geological Survey of India that's working forward for the various training and the various extraction of minerals, mainly the copper, iron, bauxite, limestone, platinum, and so on and so forth. So you have the various integrated degree programs that are being given, online core business integration system that has been developed. Then you have NALCO. NALCO has been performing very good with the highest ever production that was recorded for 16-17. The beautification of the NALCO city and the nearby area, and along with that the Jagannath Puri and the Jagannath temple region has been done. The first mega international trade event was organized as the Textile India 2017 by the Ministry of Textile. So the next is Ministry of Textile, where the focus has been Powerloom Sector. Now there are numerous small power looms, so upgradation of those power looms, creating more infrastructure and providing concessional access to the credit facility has been the main idea. You have the Sathi scheme, that is sustainable and accelerated adaptation of efficient textile technology to help small scale industries, that has taken place. Then you have EESL, where you are trying to provide the subsidized LED bulbs under those schemes, so energy efficient services. Then you have the Deen Dayal Hastkala Sankul, that's the first ever state of art trade center and museum being established at Varanasi. You have India Handmade Bazaar, which is an online portal for providing platform for artisans and weavers to sell their products. Then you have the Weaver Mudra scheme, that's providing concessional credits. Hastkala Sahyog Shivar for providing help to the weavers and the artisans. So those are some of the major initiatives that have been taken up by the Ministry of Textile. Under the e-commerce that have taken up, there are 25 leading e-commerce companies that have come up for marketing of the handloom products. Indian handloom brand has been established, where 23 garment manufacturers have come up. There are numerous things that have come up on the technical front. So you have Technotex 2017 that was being organized. 11 focus incubation centers have come up for excellence centers along with IITs. We are working forward for the development of the silk sector. So production of import substitute raw silk is increasing, and it is expected to go up to 6,200 million tons in 2017-18. We are trying for cooperation between the Central Silk Board and the Gong's Agriculture Department of China. We are working forward for the development of cotton sector, as India is the second largest exporter of cotton in the world. We are unlocking numerous production aspects in the northeast with the apparel and the garment sector at Ampati in Meghalaya that was recently being inaugurated, very important. And then you have various geotextile applications that have come up. So you have the Khurdapam to Taromim in the Imphal district that has been launched, and then you have Shillong Nongstong Road in Meghalaya that is under progress. So those are the basically geotechnical textile routes that are being developed. Then you have NIFT campus that has come up in Srinagar in 2017. The Ustad scheme, where we are trying to upgrade the various textile workers and artisans and craftsmen. So skilling India is again one of the major aspects. You have National Textile Corporation, which has registered a huge profit for the 2016-17 year. Web-based software has come up for textile statistics return. The next is, so with this we cover the major summary of the ministerial, the different ministries for 2017. Now coming on to some of the major news for the week 1st 2018. So there was the news regarding creation of All India Medical Services similar to the UPSC. So there would be another section that is being proposed, that's All India Medical Services. Bombogenesis was in news. Narendra Jadhav Committee for Allocation of Funds. Then you have electoral bonds, Shaktitar Committee for the defense expenditure. Blue flag pilot project for beach cleaning that has been taken up. Mission Monsoon or Monsoon Mission that we would be covering in one of our upcoming lectures. FDRI bill, NABARD bill, National Security Commission, that's in news. Regarding coal formation, there are two theories. So India has high ash content, that's given by the drift theory, and the other is in situ theory, again important for those with geography optional. Then for the Indian culture, the ancient monuments and the archaeological site remains bill 2017 was passed. So those are important, and here are some of the forthcoming lectures that we would be covering. The next class we would be covering the Vasanar arrangement. So stay tuned for upcoming lectures. If you have any doubts, leave those as comment, and as we said, this was a class more to remember, so we have just covered out the highlights. We have focused on the main topics, and the rest you have to read from the Examrace handouts. So make sure you cover those. Have a very good day ahead.